We have some breaking news in the NFL. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. as there's been a three-team blockbuster trade between the San Francisco 49ers, the Miami Dolphins, and the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm going to break this down as best as I can, and then Chase and I will give our thoughts on just what has taken place in the last 30 to 45 minutes or so. So you look at San Francisco. This is the big mover, Chase.
Yep.
They move up from number 12 to get the number 3 overall pick from the Miami Dolphins. They're eyeing quarterback. More thoughts on that in a minute. Miami, they get the number 6 overall pick, move down from 3 to 6, which was Philly's pick. So they sit at 6 overall, and remember, the Dolphins still have the number 18 overall pick in the first round as well. They also receive a 2021 fifth-round pick, a 2022 third-round pick, and a 2023 first-round pick. And then Philadelphia, they drop from 6 to 12, Chase, to get the number 12 overall pick, a 2021 fourth, and a 2022 first. Your instant reaction is what?
Shocking. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody could have forecasted a trade of this magnitude, especially when it included 3 teams, right? So, hey, the play for San Francisco, I think they move up to number 3, Harrison, knowing that they are comfortable with whichever quarterback falls to them and whichever quarterback they are most comfortable with throughout the evaluation process. So that's the San Francisco part. For the Miami Dolphins, they trade back. I think this takes them out of the quarterback equation. And I think that the Dolphins are moving forward with Tua Tagovailoa, knowing that the sample size for him last year was a little bit too small. They're also going to implement a newer system this year, which maybe brings the best out of him, and he's able to display what he did at the University of Alabama. Lastly, for the Philadelphia Eagles, they go back from 6 to 12. Harrison, I'm not sure about you, but for me, this tells me that the Eagles are moving forward with Jalen Hurts. They're comfortable with him as the starter for 2021, and they are going to use the small sample size from last year, as well as a full, possibly 17-game schedule this year to evaluate their second-round pick from a year ago, see if he can be the long-term starter, and if not, they will draft or trade for a quarterback in the future.
Totally agree. We'll expand on the thoughts for all 3 teams, the implications for the NFL draft as a whole. Just give us your one-word reaction. I mean, blockbuster, shocking. I think we've used 10 or 12 words that are certainly acceptable for this trade. So let us know, what is your one-word reaction to this 3-team blockbuster? Blockbuster, that's the word for me. I think it's just absolutely bonkers at the end of the day.
Yeah, insanity, shocking, wow, just something that is just massive.
Yeah.
For each one of these franchises. Like, if they make the right choice through the draft, or if they fail in identifying the proper talent, one of these franchises could be sunk for a while.
And let's talk draft, right? Because obviously the draft orders change. Insert mock draft season. Every draft expert on the planet is going to release a new one, and hey, that includes us. So stay tuned on Chat Sports for that one. Draft order, top 5. Jags, no change. Jets, no change. 49ers, they move up to number 3 overall. You got Atlanta, who could be in the mix for a quarterback still, Chase. How does this impact them? Maybe they don't get their guy now. And then the Cincinnati Bengals at number 5 overall, I think it does help them. They don't need a quarterback, so they may have their choice of Penei Sewell or insert wide receiver.
Rashawn Slater or wide receiver.
Yeah, definitely an option. 6 through 10 here. Again, Miami goes down from 3 to 6. They also have number 18 overall, so a lot of draft capital for the Dolphins. No changes 7 through 10. Detroit, Carolina, Denver, and then the Dallas Cowboys rounding out the top 10 draft picks. 11 through 15, the Giants at 11. Philadelphia moves down to 12. Remember, kind of a combined 3-team trade where Philadelphia ends up with the 49ers pick at number 12. And then Chargers, Vikings, and Patriots round out your top 15. But that is the impact for the NFL draft after this blockbuster trade. Let's talk the Philadelphia Eagles now when we break down this 3-team blockbuster trade between Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Miami. We'll start with a question here. What position do the Eagles target at number 12 now that they've slid back from number 6 overall.
I actually don't like this trade for the Eagles. I would have liked to have seen them stay at number 6, and I understand that they get a future first-round pick for next year. Maybe they can package that together to either move up next year in the draft or put together a package for Deshaun Watson if they decide to trade for him. Go ahead.
And remember, they could have another first next year if Carson Wentz reaches certain incentives in Indianapolis.
Right. So they could have up to 3 first-round picks next year. But I don't like the move for the Eagles because I think the value of the player, the potential of the player from 6 to 12 greatly decreases because one of those wide receivers of Jamar Chase, Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, Kyle Pitts is a tight end, but he can probably also play wide receiver. I think all of those guys are going to be gone by number 12. So maybe is a guy like Micah Parsons available at number 12? Does he slide back? But I think for the Eagles, yes, they get future picks back, but they take themselves out of the running for a really premier player, and for an organization that needs to rebuild and bring in elite dynamic players, you're taking yourself out of the running for one of those guys.
Yeah, you wonder maybe, okay, so they're at 12 now. Come draft night, maybe they slide back to 9 or 10. That's certainly still a possibility. Things happen in the NFL draft like that all the time. But when you are thinking, okay, if you're Philadelphia, you need an elite player on the outside. Jalen Reagor's probably more of a number 2 in the NFL. I'm with you. I think Jamar Chase is for sure a top 10 pick. I think one of Waddle or Smith is also going to be gone as well, if not both.
And Kyle Pitts
Maybe
as well.
Pitts falls to 12, but I kind of doubt it.
Yeah.
So that could be a situation where Philadelphia is saying, okay, we'll see how the draft plays out. Maybe we move back up on draft night to get into the top 10.
And that's a possibility, too, because Howie Roseman is a really aggressive general manager.
Yes.
So that thought process, I think that's going through his mind as well. But you look at the Eagles' needs here. I think, as we mentioned, one of those wide receivers is going to be gone. Maybe Micah Parsons drops back. It's not a great draft for defensive ends.
No.
Cornerback is a big need for the Eagles, and one of the premier cornerbacks in this draft could definitely be available at 12. And offensive line, yeah, you can stack up on those guys mid to late first round or get a good player in the second round as well.
Yeah, so you look at these 3. These are the top 3 receivers. We'll just verbally include Kyle Pitts because he's a top 10 talent. It doesn't really matter what the order is. The point is, if you read what scouts are saying, if you read what draft experts are doing in their mock drafts, this is a quarterback receiver dynamite draft. Whereas there's been some mocks where 0 defensive players go in the top 10 picks. Like, that has happened in some of these mock drafts. So if you're Philadelphia, normally you're thinking, okay, we fall to 12. If 4 quarterbacks go in the top 10, surely we'll get one of these guys. That's not guaranteed here. They could all be gone as well.
Not guaranteed at all, and that's why I don't like the Eagles moving back. And you mentioned offensive players going off the board rapidly in the top 10. Why has that happened? Rule changes, more of an emphasis on dynamic, speedy players in the NFL because of those rule changes. And as NFL schemes change, you can really unleash some of these dynamic players who can really become elite players.
Yeah.
But the Eagles, they could really use Jamar Chase. They could use Devonta Smith. They could use Kyle Pitts. And by moving from 6 to 12, that tells me that they're going to move forward with Jalen Hurts. He's going to be the starter for this year. Wouldn't you have liked to have surrounded him with one of those 3 aforementioned wide receivers to see if he can be the franchise guy?
I was just going to say, don't you want to yeah, I'll get my thought on that in a second because I have a lot of thoughts on maximizing Jalen Hurts. First, we'll ask you guys to subscribe to our Eagles channel. If you're watching on Chat Sports, we have a Philadelphia Eagles channel that Thomas Mott does a great job on. You see some of us on there sometimes as well. YouTube.com/Eagles Now, the latest news, rumors, draft coverage is going to intensify, especially after this, just over a month away from the NFL draft. Stay tuned. Big offseason continues for the Philadelphia Eagles, so go ahead and subscribe. I want to build off your Jalen Hurts point here because the point I was going to make as well is if you're serious about evaluating Jalen Hurts, don't you want to give him every chance to prove that he can be that guy? Like, if you don't get a big-time weapon here and you just roll into the next season with Jalen Reagor, Travis Fulgham, and Dallas Goedert, like, those are decent, like, secondary type of options, but you don't have that true number one, like, hey, I'm going to go make a play for my quarterback type of player. And Jalen Hurts still has some polishing to do, so you need one of those guys.
And that's what I would have done. So say Jalen Hurts is the starter for this team. You have Miles Sanders, who's a really dynamic player at the running back position. You have Dallas Goedert, who I think is a top 10 tight end in the league right now. Jalen Reagor, I think they overdrafted him last year in the first round, but by drafting Chase or Smith or Kyle Pitts, that then allows Jalen Reagor to go into his natural position at the slot, which you saw him thrive at because you went to TCU, which then makes your last year's first-round pick, you put him in a better situation to succeed.
Reagor's not a complete route tree do-it-all receiver.
He's not Jamar Chase.
He's a burner. You want to get him on end arounds. You want to use him in creative ways. You get a big physical guy like Chase on the other side, that increases Reagor's potential as well, in my opinion. So we'll see if they could still be in the mix for one of these guys, but it's going to be fascinating to watch what the Philadelphia Eagles do over the next month or so.